Good morning, LTV viewers and friends, and welcome back to East End News. I'm Christine Sampson, and this is your community and your news. We begin today's show with a story that affects people from Montauk to Manhattan. Let's take a look.
Hundreds of thousands of Long Island commuters breathed a collective sigh of relief this week when the looming Long Island Railroad union strike was averted, at least for now. Patrick Durenz, East Hampton Town's public information officer, was one of those people.
It was, very worrying that it could have basically prevented us from getting to do the work that we do in East Hampton. Without the train, it would take me both ways, probably longer than 4 hours to commute to work.
2 years of ongoing negotiations between union leaders and MTA officials had come to a standstill. 5 unions representing LIRR workers voted to authorize a strike and later asked President Donald Trump to intervene. Trump has ordered an investigation of the negotiation process that began at 12:01 a.m. on Thursday, the day the strike was to have started. The MTA's contingency plan if a strike occurred was to deploy buses at 3 train stations. Ronkonkoma was the easternmost such station. East Hampton Town officials have said there were no contingency plans to aid East End commuters who would have been stuck.
The LIRR actually was doing a Zoom meeting for elected officials and their staff. And we were halfway through this presentation about how people should be preparing for the strike. And President Robert Free of the LIRR was just like, I just got a text message. It seems like the strike is over, is off at least. So it was kind of, it was like in the moment, and I was like, oh my God, thank God.
As for the potential strike, the parties are now in a 120-day cooling off period, meaning a walkout may still happen, but not until January at the earliest.
We know lots of folks out there love true crime murder mysteries, and here's one that's gone unsolved since the 1970s. Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney announced this week that for National Cold Case Month, his office is looking into 3 cold cases with renewed effort. A new set of victim sketches was released by the DA's office this week, including a woman in her 60s known only as Montauk Mary, who was found shot to death on March 22, 1978, in East Overlook Park. She had been wearing fluffy orange slippers. Tierney's office is seeking help from the public to resolve the cases and is offering a reward of $2,000 for tips that lead to identification of the victims. He said in a statement that, quote, each cold case represents a person who matters deeply to somebody. Adding their cases to our website not only honors the victim's memory, but also provides new pathways for the public to contribute meaningfully to long-standing investigations. The website for more information is suffolkcountyda.org. Fred W. Thiel Jr. had a career of nearly 30 years as an elected official, including multiple distinguished terms as a state assemblyman. Now he's stepping into a new kind of public service role, board member of Organización Latinoamericana of Eastern Long Island, often called OLA. In a statement, OLA Executive Director Minerva Perez said that it fills me with tremendous hope and gratitude to see Fred Thiel embrace this board position at a time when our East End needs him most. As a legislator, Thiel championed immigrant rights such as expanded public transit systems, support for mental health programs and access to higher education, and the state's green light law that enabled undocumented people to legally obtain driver's licenses. On his appointment to OLA's board of directors, Thiel said that, we are in a unique moment testing whether our nation will continue to stand for justice, fairness, and equity. We all need to do our part. I look forward to rolling up my sleeves to help OLA fulfill its mission. It's an infrastructure project that people have been anticipating for literally years. The Cranberry Hole Road Bridge over the Long Island Railroad tracks in Amagansett is set to be repaired in the coming months. State Assemblyman Tommy John Scivone has announced that the state is going out to bid, a key step toward a resolution for a bridge that has been deteriorating for decades. Repairs for 2 more MTA-owned bridges, Sag Road in Sagaponack and River Road in Eastport, are also included in the scope of this bidding process. In a statement, Scivone described these bridges as critical infrastructure and the timeline as aggressive. He said, quote, I applaud MTA's attention to the dire state of transportation needs on the East End. We go now to our community calendar to see what's happening around town.
It's a Holocaust story you've never heard before, and right now is the moment for it. This Sunday, September 21st, LTV will screen the film The Weight of Memory, I Am Bernie Fershpan at 4 p.m. Free popcorn will be served. Full details are online at ltveh.org. Teens and comic books go together like pizza and a Coke. For young adults interested in making their own comic books, the East Hampton Library has a drop-in workshop to design your own. The fun happens September 25th, starting at 3:30 p.m. The Sag Harbor American Music Festival is back. More than 30 performers will take the stage throughout the village starting September 25th at venues like Marine Park, Steinbeck Park, Kids Squid, and Bay Street Theater. Almost all of them are free to attend. Find the full schedule of performances at sagharbormusic.org. September 27th is a Monster Day at the Children's Museum of the East End. And by monsters, we mean trucks. Big Truck Day happens from 10 a.m. to noon, ideal for families with children ages 2 to 10. SeeMe.org has the details. And on Tuesday, September 30th, it's all about pets when Southampton Town hosts a free pet vaccination clinic and licensing at Town Hall from noon to 2 p.m. Full details are online at southamptontownny.gov.
And don't forget, this Saturday, September 20th, Newtown Lane in East Hampton Village will be closed for a giant community block party from 4 to 8 p.m. The weather forecast is clear, so it should be tons of fun. The East Hampton School District has announced a series of workshops to help shape future capital projects. The first one will be held this coming Thursday, September 25th at 6 p.m. in the high school library. The announcement is an invitation to the public to help shape the vision and design of improvements to the school facilities. The school district is likely to put a bond referendum on the school budget voting day in May 2026. As the school board builds the project, Mr. Fine wrote, the Board of Education is very interested in receiving input from the community. School officials have previously indicated that the scope of the bond referendum will be comprehensive and extensive. Additional public meetings are scheduled for October 15th, November 12th, and December 17th. Habitat for Humanity is looking for another deserving person or family to be the recipient of its next affordable housing project, but you have to act fast. The deadline for applications is September 30th. The nonprofit organization is planning to build new homes in Riverhead, Sound Beach, Bellport, and Amityville. Habitat for Humanity accepts applications from people who meet several criteria. For instance, you cannot already own a home, and your current rent must exceed 30% of your income. You must have had at least 2 years of steady income and must be willing to perform at least 42 hours of community service. And most importantly, you've got to be willing to roll up your sleeves and put in 210 hours of construction work on the very home that you'd be living in. In other words, true sweat equity. Applications are open to people who meet the standard guidelines of the Federal Housing and Urban Development Agency. The full details can be found at habitatliny.org. Here's a story about a cat named Bruce. It's time to meet our ARF Pet of the Week.
For this week's Pet of the Week, we're introducing Bruce. Bruce is a 9-year-old, calm and affectionate boy who made his way to ARF after his family could no longer care for him. Although he's an older cat, Bruce is still young and playful at heart. He enjoys chin scratches and lounging in the sun, and wins everyone over with his friendly and charming personality. Visit arfhamptons.org to learn more about Bruce and how to adopt him.
Thanks for watching East End News on LTV. We bring you hyper-local headlines through the power of public access television. Find us on Instagram at LTV East End News. I'm Christine Sampson, and we'll see you next week.